Hey, welcome back. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Ice Talks, where we implement change every day. I am your host, Harold S. Reed Jr., also known as HRJR, your motivational coach. And I'm glad to see you again. Here we are, second week of 2023, and I'm keeping my word. I had somebody remind me earlier today, you said you was going to give us an episode every week. Well, here's the second week's episode of 2023. Listen, sometimes in life, while we always want to find new and different things to take us to the next level, sometimes we got to go back and we got to do a review. Sometimes you have to take inventory of the stuff you already have. Sometimes you got to look and see if there's something you already have that you're not using that can take you where you want to go. Sometimes you save yourself the hassle of finding something new when you just take stock of what you have that you haven't been using. There's a saying that goes, if you don't use it, you're guaranteed to lose it. And I can assure you, with what we're going to talk about today, I am going back into my old bag of tricks. Some of you may have heard what I'm going to be talking about, and some of you may have not. I can guarantee at least one person hasn't heard what I'm going to talk about today. So this episode is dedicated to my sister from another mister, Miss Artelia Key. This episode is for you. Today I want to talk to you about trying. I'm dedicating this episode to my sister Artelia, who is a member of my sister organization, Swing Fi Swing Social Fellowship Incorporated. She asked me a question this morning, and the question was, why don't I like the word try? So this episode is why I don't like the word try. As I said in the intro, for some, this may be a review. So just sit back and listen and enjoy. The reason why I don't like the word try is because I believe that trying is not enough. I believe that, wait a minute, there's a saying that goes, nothing beats a failure but a try. And to that, I agree. With that, I agree. However, people abuse the word try just as much as Facebook has abused the word friend. By that, I mean, trying is not enough. We have to do more than try. So what I tend to do is I ask people when I'm having this conversation about the value of the word try and why I don't use it. I'll ask someone, are you married or are you in a relationship? And I say, yes, I've been married for XYZ years. And my response then, or my next question would be, are you committed to being a good spouse, or are you just trying to be a good spouse? Oh, I'm committed to being a good spouse. Okay, cool. Do you have kids? Oh, I have 2, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Are you just trying to be a good parent, or are you committed to being a good parent? Oh, I'm committed to being a good parent. Okay, great. You have a job? Yeah, I work at that. Okay, great. When you go to work, we all have our need for mental health days, but generally, when you go to work, do you try to keep your job, or are you committed to keeping your job? Oh, I'm committed to keeping my job. These bills got to get paid. So let's see. Everything that's important to you, you're not trying to do it. You're committing to do it. And the person goes, wow, I never looked at it like that. I never looked at it that way. And really, It's just that simple. It's really just that simple. Anything worth your time, worth your effort, worth your energy, worth your blood, sweat, and tears is worth more than just trying to do it. You see what I'm saying? It's worth more than just trying to do it. When I returned to the martial arts in my mid-40s after not training for over 2 decades, I wasn't trying to become a black belt. I was committed to becoming a black belt. In fact, I was so committed to becoming a black belt that even though I signed a 3-year contract, which meant as long as I put in the work and I passed the tests, by the end of that 3 years, I would have my black belt. But I was so committed to accomplishing and achieving the goal of earning my black belt that not only was I in the dojo every day, I was in the dojo every day because I had asked my master instructor if I could participate in his instructor training course. And in training to become an instructor, not only am I taking my regularly scheduled classes, I was taking classes with him and his instructors. So whatever he was teaching the teachers, I was in that class too. And then on top of that, I was teaching classes. All right. So instead of going the whole 3 years to get my black belt, I was able to, because I put in more work, I brought my goal closer to me sooner. You can't do that by trying. You understand what I'm saying? And let me reiterate that goal or that piece right there. The harder you work towards your goal, the harder your goal will work towards coming to you. I just explained to you that I entered a 3-year agreement where I was supposed to achieve a certain goal by the end of those 3 years. However, I was able to actually achieve that goal literally in half the time. Why? Because I committed myself to achieving that goal. I didn't necessarily commit myself to achieving that goal early, but during the course of the journey towards achieving that goal, I found a way, no pun intended, from my title of my first book, Find a Way to Make a Way, but I found a way to do what I love doing, do more of what I love doing, and reap the benefits and rewards from doing it sooner. You can't do that by trying. You can't do that by trying. You can't try to be a good husband or wife and have a successful, happy, sustaining relationship. You can't do that by trying. You can't try and be a good parent and raise strong, productive children into productive members of society. You can't do that by trying. You have to be committed. Oh, here we go. Let me bring it down for everybody else who may not be in a relationship and who may not be parents. Let's say you want to lose weight. Let's say you want to gain weight. Let's say you want to turn fat into muscle. Let's say you want to get a degree. Let's say you want to get more clients. Let's say you want to start a new business. You can't do any of those things. Let's say you want to learn how to play an instrument. You can't do any of those things simply by trying. Trying is not enough. Trying is not enough. You need to be committed. You need to lock yourself in to achieving this goal. Whatever your goal may be, you have to be committed towards achieving it. And I'm going to share with you something that's going to help you along the way. I learned this probably, I would say, a little over 20 years ago in a book called Unlimited Power by Tony Robbins. If you don't know who Tony Robbins is, I pray for you. But if you really want to turn your life around, including listening to me, including buying my books, you want to check out Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is one of the people that I learned from to get my life in order, and who I really began learning from when I wanted to enter into the professional development space. All right. So what I learned from his book, Unlimited Power, was what Tony Robbins calls the ultimate success formula. And it consists of 4 steps. The first step in the ultimate success formula is to determine your goal. Whatever it is, identify your goal. Identify your goal, what it is you're setting out to do. Okay? The second step, you can't really go anywhere if you don't know where you're going. So the first step, obviously, determine, identify your goal. Once you've identified your goal, you can't get there unless you start going there. So the second step in the ultimate success formula is to take action. You have to take action. You have to start moving towards your goal, right? And the third step in the ultimate success formula is to analyze as you're on your journey, as you're following your steps, as you're doing what you believe is necessary in order to get you towards your goal. You have to analyze whether or not the steps that you're taking are bringing you closer to your goal or taking you further away from your goal. Sometimes you're going to have to make changes. You're going to have to make course corrections. I say this all the time. When you get on an airplane, the airplane doesn't run down the runway and take off, go straight up, fly in a straight line, and then land at the airport. No. For a variety of reasons, hundreds of thousands of course corrections are made in the air where there are no other obstacles that you can see in the air, right? But there are weather patterns, bird flight patterns or what have you in the air, turbulence, all kinds of stuff that have the pilots going a little bit higher, a little bit lower, make the turn to the left, make the turn to the right, got to go this degrees this way, this many degrees that way, right? Before that plane can land. So you gotta determine if what you're doing is working, and if it's working, keep on doing it. But if it's not working, now you have to find a new method to make up for the method that wasn't working and get yourself on track to get towards your goal. Which leads me to the final step in the ultimate success formula, which is to be flexible enough to implement the changes that are going to get you to where you want to go. There may be times in your life where, or situations in your life where you're just used to doing things a certain way. I experience this all the time as a hobby, money-making hobby, if you will. Sometimes I do Uber, I do Lyft, because it's fun. I get out, I meet people. And you know what? That's kind of like community service coaching for me, because sometimes I'll have a rider in the back of the car who had a bad day. Last night I had a woman in the car whose car broke down and she was like an hour away from her job. Not a problem, and we had a great conversation, got her spirits up, had a great time. But again, my point being, you have to be flexible enough to implement the changes that are going to take you where you want to be. All right. Now, throughout all of those 4 steps, you can't try any of them. The only thing you can try, you can't even try food. How about that? I was about to say the only thing you can try is some food, but you can't try food. You can't try food. Why can't you try food? Well, I'm glad you asked. You can't try food because trying food requires you to consume it. Now, once you've consumed it, you can determine whether or not you like it, but you cannot determine whether or not you like it without consuming it. So you have to commit to consuming the food in order to determine if you wish to consume it again. And people will say, well, do you want a ham sandwich? I don't want no ham sandwich. Well, how would you know? You ever tried it? And you'll say yes. But in actuality, you didn't try it. You ate it. You didn't try it. You ate it. You were committed to it. And let me break down really, really, really the importance. Because I always, whenever I find myself even about to say the word try, If I have to use that word, I will preface it with, for lack of a better word. Otherwise, I will immediately self-correct if that word comes out of my mouth, and I will do my damnedest. I will do my utmost damnedest to not even use that word. And here's why. When you use the word try, it's like taking one of those little wooden triangular blocks and putting it right by the door jamb, so that once you close the door to the room, the door is not fully closed. It's cracked. Try is that little triangular wooden block that they put to chuck under the door to keep the door either wide open or to keep the door from fully closing. Okay, that little triangular piece of material, whether it's wood, metal, plastic, what have you, right? But that is what the word try is to me. So let's say you're in a room, and in this room, you need to keep your confidence. In this room, you need to be 100% down for whatever it is you're setting out to do. In fact, you need to shut out the world and all of its nonsense so you can concentrate on what's going on. Even better, let's say you had to study for an exam. Let's say you got to study for a test and you need to shut out the world, right? You're going to try to study. This is you going to try to study. You don't want to shut out the world. So by trying to study, you're going to put that little wooden block or that little metal, plastic, whatever piece by the door. So the door is going to be cracked. Now, what happens if the door is cracked? You can hear what's going on outside. Or rather, whatever's going on outside can come into that room. The sound of whatever's going outside can come into that room. The smell of whatever's outside can come into that room. Failure, mediocrity, BS people, their essence, all of that has the opportunity to come into the room and mess up your confidence, mess up your drive to achieve this goal of studying for this test or whatever it is that you have to do that requires all of your confidence. When that door is cracked, because you're trying to do this one thing, but keep an open ear to the outside world, you have just left enough room for failure to creep in through that crack. See? However, when you take away that little chuck, you take away that little piece of block or whatever, that little triangular piece of wood or metal or plastic or whatever, when you take that joker away and that door is fully closed and you are in that room and your confidence is at 105, you are committed. You have shut everything else out. You are committed. That is why I don't use the word try. I believe that when you try, you leave the door open just enough for failure to creep in and throw a monkey wrench in your whole program. You don't even have, like I said, you don't have to leave the door wide open. All you need to do is leave the door cracked. Failure doesn't need a lot. Failure doesn't need a lot. Failure is like bacteria. All it needs is just a little bit of space where there's a little bit of warmth and a little bit of moisture, and that bacteria will grow. Fear, doubt, recalcitrance, reluctance, all of these things, mediocrity, all of these things that can get into your head, that can creep into your head. It's not like anybody hits you with a pillowcase full of bricks. No, it creeps up into your nose. Like grandma's sweet potato pie creeps up into your nose, gets into your head. And instead of giving you the good feelings of grandma's sweet potato pie, it just messes up your whole train of thought, messes up your whole line of thinking. You see what I'm saying? So you have to commit yourself to your own greatness. You cannot commit yourself to your own greatness and try at the same time. It's physically impossible. It's universally impossible. It's like being in New York, saying that you want to go to California, and then you start traveling south. Straight. You can't do that. You understand? So once again, the value of commitment is more important than trying. What you get from committing to your own greatness is more important than trying. If there's anything you want to do in life, commit to at least figuring it out if that's what you want to do. But do more than try. Do more than stick your toe in the water. Get in there. That's the only way you're really going to find out whether it is you like or want to do or can do whatever it is you're setting out to do. When you try, you're shortchanging yourself. You can't do yourself any favors simply by trying. That's it. So while this episode was dedicated to my sister Artelia, I hope everybody who's listening to this is getting something out of it. And if there's something you want to talk about, if there's something you want me to talk about, hit me up. Hit me up. My email address is hrjr@coachhrjr.com. Send me an email, and guess what? I'll put you on my email mailing list so you can get a daily motivational message, or roughly every other day, something like that. I don't like filling up people's inboxes because I hate it when I see the same goofy mail. I see the goofiness with my mail. My inbox is full. I hate that. All right. So we're going to end right now because I don't want to take up a lot of your time. That first episode, last week's episode, it ran for 35 minutes. And I promised you guys I wasn't going to take up a lot of your time. So I'm going to make this promise to you now. These episodes, I'm going to look to keep them roughly between 15 to 25 minutes. That sounds fair? 15 to 25 minutes. I want it to be something that you can listen to in the car on the way to work and not even take up hopefully your whole ride unless you live close to work, right? So you can listen to an episode on your way to work, listen to an episode on your way home from work, listen to an episode, before you go to bed, listen to an episode when you wake up in the morning. I just want you to make sure that your day either starts or ends with something positive, something motivational. People often say, what does motivation mean? Well, I believe that motive plus action equals results. And you can't produce results by trying. You can only produce results by committing to that which is yours. I invite you to follow me on Twitter @TheIceTalks. I invite you to follow me on Instagram @HSReedJr. I invite you to follow me on LinkedIn. Just look up my name, Harold S. Reed Jr. or HRJR Peak Performance Services, and that'll come up as well. If you go to my website, CoachHRJR.com, there's a QR code to join my mailing list. You can go there and do that. And the books are in the shop. So I'm looking forward to helping you make 2023 the best year it can possibly be. Take care.